In this particular video, we're going to step through submitting a BLAST job at the BV-BRC. But first we have to decide, what are we going to blast? What are we interested in? Well, if you watch the introductory video, you know that I really like these penicillin binding proteins. And for example, there's this article. And if you skim down here, you can see that it has a lot to say about the penicillin binding proteins. These things are important in cell wall generation and division, but they're also important receptors for the penicillin proteins, which are beta-lactam antibiotics. And when those antibiotics come in, they block that site and eventually kill the cell because it can no longer divide. Now, there are 6 penicillin binding proteins in Streptococcus pneumoniae, and in fact, across most bacteria, but only 3 of them are important for beta-lactam antibiotics. And those are PBP1A, which you can see here, PBP2X, and PBP2B, okay? So we're going to look for those things, blast those things in BV-BRC. So if we go back to BV-BRC, and you may say, well, don't those proteins already exist here? We can go into organisms, and we can go into Streptococcus, and this is a huge genus. Lots of genomes. You can see there are 47,000 here. And if I go into proteins and it's looking at them across all of the Streptococcus, and up here in the keyword search, I could put in PBP2X, return that, and it's got to sift through, is it millions of results? Yeah. And you can see here in the gene symbol that there are a number of proteins here for that. But let's pretend that that doesn't exist, that you can't do that here. And you've read this paper. And then what a lot of people would do is they would go to GenBank and GenBank protein and put in PBP2X, and because we want Streptococcus pneumoniae, and see what that gives us. And it tells us that there is a penicillin binding protein that's in RefSeq products. I really want the protein, not the gene. So I'm going to go down here, and one of the things I always do is I look at the sizes. I don't want a partial. I want it to say it's the whole thing. Now, I don't know much of anything about the protein that came from this organism. Is it resistant to penicillin? Or is it susceptible? I don't know, but I'm going to use this protein to do our BLAST examination. So you could get the gen peptide identical proteins for FASTA. I want the FASTA. So I click on that, and it gives me this FASTA. So I just will copy this whole thing, and then I'm going to go back to BV-BRC, and I'm going to click up here in Tools and Services, and maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. Tools and Services, and down here it says BLAST, and that's what I'm going to click on. And you can see there are the programs: BLAST-M, BLAST-X, BLAST-P, T-BLAST-N. If I just put this in here, it's going to give me an error message because this is a protein sequence, and BLAST-N is looking at nucleotides. So I would need to click here on BLAST-P, and then I no longer get that problem. Now, here's my favorite part, the database source. So let's click here, and we can look at what we want to look at. We can look at the reference and representative genomes, which are the GenBank taxonomic. It's supposed to span the breadth of taxonomy and have some of their gold standard genomes. You could do it for bacteria, for viruses. You can create your own genome group or add a genome list and look against those. So you could add the genomes one by one, including your private data. That makes this service really great that you can not only pick data that you want to search against, but search against your private genomes. I could search within a genome group, a feature group, which is a group of proteins, within a taxa, or within a specific FASTA file that I have. But I want to do the taxa today, the specific taxon. It wants to look for it, so I'm going to start typing in Streptococcus new. There we go. It's as far as I have to go. And then I can see the species, Streptococcus pneumoniae. So I want to look across that because that's what we're looking at in this example. Okay. And I could look for proteins. That's all that's available here. Now I need to create a new output folder for this, or I could look at folders I've previously done, but I'm going to create a new one. So I click on that folder icon and it takes me to an interface with my workspace here. So I'm going to click on AMR MOOC and I'm going to create a new one that I call BLAST. All right, so I'm going to create that folder and then I'm going to click on it and say, okay. Now I need an output name. Right now I can't submit because I haven't named it yet. So I'm going to call it PBP2X Streptococcus pneumoniae. I know, a lot of typing. That's what I excel at. If I want it to be more specific so that I know exactly which one it was, I won't put in the 0.1 because that point sometimes messes up the job. I would put in the unique identifier from GenBank. So I could submit the job now, but I can open up the advanced options and see how many hits do I want. Well, let's just start at 10. What we really want to show you is how BLAST is working and the E-value threshold. Right now it's set at the most stringent, but if you were really just fishing for something, you'd want it to be less. I don't know why anyone would want this because that's just really broad. Okay. And you could wait and view the results while this is going, but I'm going to turn that off and I'm just going to submit the job. So we'll click it and it's off. It's telling me it's submitting the job. Let's wait until we see this green sign change to tell me that it has been successfully submitted. If you change anything before you see that sign, it'll rewrite the job with whatever it is you change. So wait till you see that. Now, while this is going, let's look for a different one. And let's go to a different database like Uniprot. And I want to put in PBP2B. Okay. And Streptococcus pneumoniae. Search for that. All right. So you can see that there are a number of them with the different serotypes. This one is a little bit, this one is an RNA binding protein. So this one's PBP2B, and these are 680 amino acids long. So it looks like this was the one I might want. So I'd click on that, and then Uniprot's an amazing resource. But to get to the FASTA files, you have to scroll down a bit. And you can see it's got a lot of cool stuff that it's bringing up. But I want to wait till I see some sequence. Come on. There we go. So when I get to the sequence, I can just say I want to download it. Okay. So I'll download that sequence. And there it pops it up on the screen. And once again, let's click that. And then let's go back to this. Now this job has been submitted, so I can put in a new job and it's going to save everything exactly the same. So let's do that. Okay. And then I just need to call it something different. PBB2B, Streptococcus pneumoniae. And once again, I'll add this in so I know it came from, or I know a unique identifier, at least from Uniprot. So before I submit this, let's look a little bit at this. The first line has to have this caret symbol, and then you can have whatever you want. The second line should be the sequence. Now, because it's wrapping here, this shouldn't be a problem that the second line is starting with this, but I'm still a little worried about it. I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm hoping that this will cause no problems with the job. And I'm going to submit it. And we're waiting. Okay. So we've done PBB, 2B, too many B's and P's, hard to say. PBB 2X, and the last one was, let's go back here, 1A. So let's go back to GenBank. Let's go to the overview. Let's get past that, go into protein, and then do PBP1A, Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay. Searching for that. And once again, it's showing me that this is available in RefSeq, but it's just easier from this page. It gives you a direct access to the FASTA files. So, and these all seem to be 719. Always check for this, because sometimes at GenBank, the partial proteins come to the top and you'll only see a piece of it, but I want the whole thing. And this one's fine for me for now. So I'll click the FASTA file for that, grab that guy, copy it, go back to here. And because it's been submitted, we're safe. Let's put this in. The line isn't wrapping here. And we just need PBP1A, Streptococcus pneumoniae. And then I'm going to grab this guy so I can verify. It's always good to have all the data there so you can see it and submit it. And it says it's submitting the jobs, or this particular job, it's been successfully submitted. So we've submitted 3 jobs. We went and looked at GenBank and Uniprot and grabbed that data. That's how you submit the BLAST job at BV-BRC. In the next video, we'll talk about the results. Okay, I'll see you there. Bye.